Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Channel 6 TV, Community Focus. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host. Glad you can be with us tonight. We're going to talk a little bit about a subject that's probably near and dear or fearful to just about everybody that comes in encounters. Almost everybody's has some connection to cancer in some way, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, or somebody you just work with or know. But so we've got Jim Roby here with us today. Jim, I guess you're sort of the poster boy for the Flaget Hospital Project Hope Cancer Project.
Well,
So first of all, I want to welcome you to the show.
I'm happy to do this. This is Jane and I just happened to be at the right place at the right time. We came from Louisville, where they gave us. Once they found out I had stage 4.
I'm going to say you went through quite a scare. I mean, when you first got into this.
Colorectal cancer. So it went to Louisville, had an operation cut. They took out 2/3 of my large intestine.
Mm-hmm.
We came home, had an ostomy bag, went back 2 months later to have the reversal, and the surgery went well, but there were complications. I ended up staying 15 days.
Yeah.
Came home, we were getting ready to come home. We were going to be released, and Jane and I took a walk, went out of the hospital, walked up a block or two, and came back. When I got back, I couldn't stand up, sit down, lay down, and they couldn't figure out what it was. And finally, they did a CT scan. They came back in and they said, "Mr. Roby, we've got some bad news, and we got some bad news." I said, "Well, what's the bad news?" He said, "Well, the reason you're hurting is because your gallbladder's gangrene." And I said, "What's the second one?" They said, "Well, the cancer metastasized from your colon to your liver." I said, "Well, cut it out." He said, there won't be any operation. So next thing, here comes an oncologist in, and Jane and I are just, it's the second time we've heard cancer. And I went la, and the oncologist came in and said, "We're going to give you this drug, this drug, this drug, and this type chemo, two times every 2 weeks." So when he said that, I said, "Well, what if I don't do the chemo?" He said, "How long will I live?" And he said, "You got 6 months." I said, "What about if I do take chemo?" He said, "Well, 2 years." And I just lost it completely, and thank God Jane was there. She had the common sense to say, "Look, we've got a cancer center in Bardstown." And that's when they said, "By all means, go ahead and get a second opinion." Because they absolutely gave us no hope. 2 years.
2 years, yes,
that's not a bunch. And so before we got back to, we checked out of the hospital, and before we got back to Bardstown, Jane already called Monty Martin. And this is where our hope began. And we walked in and sat down. He looked at my stats. Said, "We're kind of okay." He said, "We're going to give you this drug, this drug, this drug, this kind of chemo every 2 weeks." And it was exactly what they're going to do in Louisville. But he gave me something they didn't give, and this is where it really gets emotional with me. He said, with my drugs, you're in Jane's strength, and he pointed to a cross on the wall, and he said, "And his help." And that cross was donated by Midge Ballard in honor of Larry, and there's one who had died of stomach cancer. And there's one in every infusion room in the cancer center. See, with his help, we'll beat this. And he gave us hope. He didn't say 2 years, 6 months, 2 years, whatever. He said, we're going to do. I think we can get it. So, after 5 months of chemo and had a PET scan, came back and he said, "It's the words that just you want to hear." And our hope and prayers came through. He said, "We're going to send you to Louisville to have the operation, the liver operation." So we went in, had an operation, and they gave me another PET scan after that was over, and they said, "You are cancer clean, free." And you just can't imagine what that's like.
I can't imagine.
Jane and I cried all the way home, and we give it all the credit to Dr. Martin and the folks out at the Cancer Center.
Well, let's back up just a little bit. They gave you 2 years to live. How long ago was that?
That was 5 years ago.
5 years ago. Yeah. And still cancer free?
Still cancer free, knock on wood. but no, they became our family out at the Cancer Center.
Yeah, well, that had to be life transform. I mean, a transformation. I mean, it puts things in perspective when you know. And we all know we're going to go sometime, but when they put a number on it, that's got to be even more shocking to you.
You can't conceive. I can't conceive of dying.
Yeah.
Yet when they said 6 months, and then he said 2 years,
Yeah.
I said, God, that's.
Yeah.
I think I can do better than that. But it shakes you up emotionally, psychologically, when they say, you know, they give you a flat 2 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, you start thinking, what am I going to do? So, like I said, thank God my wife has common sense, and she kept her cool under pressure.
Are you seeing life differently now?
Oh, Ken, you can't imagine. Every day I wake up, I'm even going to acupuncture. You know, I had some little minor aches and pains.
Yeah.
Acupuncture's taking care of those. I can play golf without any pain. My energy around the house is a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, I'd go out and work for a couple hours and have to come in.
Yeah.
But now, you know, I can go.
That cross on the wall, what does that mean to you now?
That is, he's the only, when all else fails, that's all you have left is your belief in God. Mm-hmm. And I had prayers coming in from every church in the county. I even had a mass said for me in Pennsylvania by a bunch of monks. So, you know, it all helps.
Yeah.
But it just, every day you wake up, mm-hmm. you might wake up with an ache or pain, but you said, thank God I'm awake.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of the cancer center here in Flaget, I mean, for somebody that hadn't been there, that place is state of the art.
Oh,
I mean, you walk in there, and I think it's a place that it shocked me when I took a tour. It actually shocked me that we had something like that here in Bardstown.
Well, what you have at these bigger cancer centers are like amphitheaters. Mm-hmm. They have chairs lined up, and you might sit next to somebody that's got dialysis, and here you're getting your chemo and so on around and around. Out there, you have your own private room, mm-hmm. and you've got a TV. I had a TV, a bed, and a recliner that was heated and vibrated. Mm-hmm. And I'd go out there about 8 o'clock every 2 weeks, preferably on Monday. Yeah. And the session, the infusion took about 6 hours. So we'd get out of there at 2. But there were times when the hospital pharmacy was a little behind. They didn't get our medicine over until like 10 o'clock. Mm-hmm. We were there from 8 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and that's a long day.
Mm-hmm. Well, when they say you're cancer free, I mean, for a lot of people, it's probably a good excuse to say, I never want to see this place again. But you didn't take that route. You decided to pay back or devote yourself to that center and cancer. I mean, a word that probably scared you to death. You're working on it now.
Yeah. Well, 2 years ago, they did a little feature on colorectal cancer, and I was sitting. They had me come in, just have a little chat with Dr. Martin. Of course, we talked about golf. Mm-hmm. And they took a picture of it, and they had a folder talking about hope already, a pamphlet saying hope. Yeah. And it just one thing led to another, and we just happened to come in with our story, and it's our story because you know it's not a matter of me having cancer. I had the disease, but my whole family had to put up with the psychological, the mental part of it, and that's just as bad. And my daughter was in Hawaii at the time. She couldn't get home, and that killed her. But that's like I say, it's just hope. Mm-hmm. You got your own private room out there, and they're our family now. Yeah. Dr. Martin, and at the time it was Smith. What's Smith's name? Maggie Smith. Maggie Smith. And Pat Rogers. Fabian Rogers' sister, I think. Mm-hmm. You know, they were out there. I knew them, and it was family. Mm-hmm. And my Lord, go out there. I still go out there every 6 months, have blood tests. Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful place, nice and clean, and like you said, very professional looking. And you keep mentioning the word hope, and which is the name of the project. Yes. They've got Project Hope. So that obviously that's what they're. It's hope for a lot of people that maybe have given up. Mm. This area here. My colon doctor said he treats a larger number of people from this area with colorectal cancer than probably any place else in the state. Hmm. And the cancer center went from like 12 patients a day, they're up to about 60 now a day. Of course, that's chemo and radiation, but it's just you hear the word cancer, Kenny,
Oh.
you just, and you know, you don't have anything else left to hope but say, God, I hope I get through this.
Yeah.
And
And Dr. Martin, he's still there.
still there.
I think they've added another.
They've got another oncologist. He's getting into the blood work, and they've got a number one nurse, or not number one doctor in the radiation center now.
Yeah.
He recruited her, and she comes highly recommended. Everybody knows her, and so they're getting a team out there that is number one.
So what's Project Hope doing now? I know there's fundraising involved. They need money to get even better.
Yep, and they're having a big blast this weekend, and hopefully that'll be a big fundraiser. And it's a continual thing. You know, they said we want $1.1 million,
Yeah.
which is a pretty sizable chunk of change. But when you look at the good it's going to do, when people find out what this cancer center is really like, and there's been tours through it, you know, they show them the individual rooms where they give the radiation treatments. And that's just awesome.
Oh, it is. Like I said, I took one of those tours here a few months ago, and I was absolutely blown away as to, not that I expected anything less, but it just was top of the state of the art, something I didn't expect to see in Bardstown.
Scared me to death going in that room, because they say it's got a 3-foot wall that shuts, and you're locked in there. I said, get me out of here. But
Cancer claustrophobia is a whole lot easier to get over than cancer.
It's not. I don't think it's fatal.
No, I don't think so. It's aggravating, but I don't think you'll die. I don't think you will anyway. Well, Jim, we wish you all the best. And again, you know, the becoming cancer-free is quite something that I know that people want to hear. And for you to do that, for the diagnosis that you had, is nothing short of a miracle.
Yeah, well, God's been with me all through this, because the only reason I found out I had it in the first place, I went to my doctor to get my blood pressure prescription refilled. He asked me, when's the last time you had a colonoscopy? I said, never. And I was 62. He said, well, guess what? Well, I go out there, and next thing you know, I've got colorectal cancer.
Yeah.
And then we were checking out. Jane and I were walking and got back to the room, and if it hadn't been for my gallbladder, they would not have found the liver mastating from my colon to the liver. They never found it, and I probably wouldn't be here right now.
Yeah,
but God's been with me. And then
it's a series. Sometimes luck is as good as anything. But again, I guess we could do another show sometime just on the need for people to go for a colonoscopy, because I know a lot of people put that off.
I know of at least 6 or 7 people that have had theirs since I've had mine, and you know, I thought maybe that was why God saved me, so I could tell everybody go and get a colonoscopy.
That's your mission now.
Yeah, but I think God has led me to this, and you know, I just hope that with Jane and I's story, and it's a couple story. It's not mine, because she went through it. She stayed with me every bit of the time.
Well, a lot of times, and I know we say this a lot, it's really true. Sometimes I think it's harder on the caregiver than it is the person that's actually getting the care, because you're seeing what they're going through and you feel helpless at times. So,
I gave her a lot of challenges because I got depressed, and because I couldn't see the end.
Sure.
But then Jane kept saying, you got to eat, and when you're getting chemo, you don't have an appetite.
Yeah.
But once again, I got through it.
Yeah.
We had the hope, and hope is something that you can see down the road that will evolve and actually take place, and it did.
Well, you're going to be on billboards, you're going to be on posters, and I know but that's a good thing. Like I said, part of this mission is to see somebody that we've known him here in Bardstown area for a long, long time. I've seen you at many ball games on Board of Education. I mean, you've been so involved in so many things. So a lot of people have come in contact with you, and to see you go through this story, it's going to mean a lot to a lot of people. Maybe if nothing else, get somebody to go get a colonoscopy. Or maybe they're laying there right now being diagnosed, and they're thinking, you know, if he can do this, maybe I can too.
Or they're sitting on $1,000, $2,000, $10,000 they don't need. They could give it to the Project Hope
That's
for the Cancer
exactly
Center.
it. Yeah, give them a call at the Cancer Center. Ask for Andrea Shepard out there, and that's one of the things they're doing right now. Flaget Hospital is expanding, and not only in that area, but Cancer Center is one of the areas. So yeah, give them a call out there, and I know they could use your help. So yeah.
And also, if you want to take a tour, just call Andrea, and she'll give you a tour of the facility, and you'll be amazed at what we have here in Bardstown, as opposed to having to drive all the way to Louisville and back and back.
I'm sure some people from Louisville probably come in here.
Yeah. And some people have to have it chemo every day or radiation every day, and they can get it right out here.
Yeah, so it's a wonderful thing we've got here, a great asset for the area. So give them a call out there. If you can help out financially, that'd be even better. But I know they'd love to just show you around. And Jim, congratulations, if nothing else. So and good luck on the rest of it. And what you're doing, this mission is important. God gave you a reason to be around here a little bit longer. It looks like.
He gave me a reason besides that to play golf, which I'm able to do now.
So play golf and get the word out.
Exactly.
All right. Well, thank you for being here.
Thanks for everything.
Jim Roby with the Flaget Cancer Center Project Hope. And again, there's a lot of hope involved. So we thank Jim for being here and thank Jane for supporting him all this time. And we appreciate you tuning in. Stick around. A lot more to come here on Community Focus Channel 6 TV. We'll be right back.